Hi, everybody. It's Amy Caroline. Welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new evening. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my a brand new evening, and welcome back to my channel. Um 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 anyway, it's time for more ghost train stories to put on the travel channel. It is time for more ghost train stories to let you guys put it on the travel channel. And anyway, so please enjoy this. Um, uh, Here it is. Um, 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 the ghost train of the Arizona desert. The ghost train of the Arizona desert. So this takes place back in Arizona. This takes place in Arizona, in southeastern Arizona. This takes place in Arizona. If you live in Arizona, and if you live where this takes place, if you live in Arizona where it takes place, this might be familiar to you. Okay, all right. So the ghost train of the Arizona desert. Here we go. There are many stories of ghost trains chugging down America's. Hang on, let me start over. There are many stories of ghost trains chugging down America's tracks, but rare indeed must be stories. But rare indeed must be stories of ghost trains that run where a real iron and steel locomotive never has. Southeastern Arizona, though, is said to be haunted by such a train. The story is that a prospector was lost on the Alakai Flats, north of Arizona's Dragoon Mountains. He had left Tombstone planning to prospect in Dos Calabasas, Calabasas, 50 miles northeast. Now his burro was dead, and his burro was dead, and he was staggering across the flats in the white heat, and the white heat of day. The odds were that he died there before sundown, and his bones would bleach in the hot Arizona sun. He must be going crazy. He must, because far off in the distance, he'd heard the clickety-clack of a train and and the chug-chug of a steam locomotive. That's when he remembered the ghost train. Men, old miners, Mexican, had told him about seeing the train on the flats where no train ever really ran. No one knew why it was there. It never stopped. Just roared by, just roared by and vanished in the Arizona sun. Now the prospector could hear a far-off whistle. He squinted his Kelly dusted eyes across the flats, shimmering with the midday mirage of blue water. He saw a black speck coming towards him, getting bigger and bigger. Then it was closing in on him. As it did, he could make out a headlight, a spark of light that looked strangely yellow in the remorseless white glare of the desert sun. Finally, he could make out the whole train, a black engine blowing a cloud of smoke and steam, pulling two yellow coaches. The train was old-fashioned, like something the prospector remembered from Civil War days. The train looked like it was going to run him down, and sure enough, it began tolling its bell as if to warn him of danger. The prospector tried to move, but he couldn't. But he couldn't. He realized with a shock that he was too far gone to move, a victim of sunstroke, unlikely to survive more than another hour or two of the fierce heat. Just before it would have hit him, the train stopped. The prospector couldn't believe what happened next. As he passed out from the heat, strong hands seemed to lift him aboard the train. Someone stretched him out in the aisle of one of the passenger cars. The last thing he remembered was begging the people aboard the train for water. Water was what woke him, water trickling over his face. He opened his eyes. A strange man wearing a sheriff's badge was standing over him, holding a pitcher of water. Man found you 5 miles out of town, the sheriff said. You wouldn't have lasted another hour in the heat. Town? What town? Town? What town? The prospector asked. Willcox, Arizona, the sheriff said. What are you, loco? Last thing the prospector remembered, he had been 20 or 30 miles from Willcox. He struggled up on his elbows the train. He said. The sheriff looked at him. Ain't no train around here, he said. The prospector eased himself back down. He thanked his lucky stars that the ghost train had decided to make its only stop ever for him. The Southern Pacific Railroad came through Arizona in 1880, running right through Willcox. It even put a branch into Tombstone, but Tombstone old-timers say that the ghost train still runs across the trackless Achilles Flats where no railroad ever was built. So the Southern Pacific Railroad came through Arizona. back in 1880, back in the 1880s, and he had left Tombstone to prospect in Dos Calabasas, 50 miles northeast. Now his burro was dead. It said his burro was dead, and he was staggering across the flats in the white heat of day. The odds were that he died there before sundown, and his bones would bleach into the hot Arizona sun. He must be going crazy. He must, because far off in the distance he heard the clickety clack of a train and the chug chug of a steam locomotive. That's when he heard the ghost train. That's when he heard the ghost train. That's when he remembered the ghost train. Men, old miners, Mexicans had told him about seeing the train on the flats where no train ever really ran. You know, like it says right here. You know, like it says right here, but Tombstone's old timers say that the ghost train still runs across the trackless Achille Flats where no railroad was ever built. Anyway, men, old timers, Mexicans had told him about seeing the train on the flats where no train ever really ran. No one knew why it was there either. It never stopped. It never stopped, just roared by and vanished in the desert sun. Back then it was closing in on him. As it did, it could make out a headlight, a spark of light that looked strangely yellow in the remorseless white glare of the desert sun. Finally, he could make out the whole train, a black engine blowing a cloud of smoke and steam pulling two yellow coaches. The train was old-fashioned, like something the prospector remembered from Civil War days. So the train looked like the train looked like okay, can't even talk here. So the train looked like it did back in the Civil War days. And the train also looked like it was going to run him down. And sure enough, it began tolling its bell as if to warn him of danger. The prospector tried to move, but he couldn't. He realized with a shock that he was too far gone to move, a victim of sunstroke, unlikely to survive more than another hour or two of the fierce heat. Just before it would have hit him, the train stopped. The prospector couldn't believe what just happened next as he passed out from the heat. Strong hands seemed to lift him aboard the train. Someone stretched him out in the aisle of one of the passenger cars. The last thing he remembered was begging the people aboard the train for water. Okay. Water was what woke him. Water trickling over his face, he opened his eyes. A strange man wearing a sheriff's badge was standing over him, holding a pitcher of water. Man found you 5 miles out of town. The sheriff said, You wouldn't you wouldn't have lasted another hour in that heat. Town, what town? The town, what town? The prospector asked. Wilcox, Arizona, the sheriff said. What are you, loco? Last thing the prospector remembered, he had been 20 or 30 miles from Wilcox. He struggled up on his elbows. The train, he said. The train, he said. The sheriff looked at him. Ain't no train around here, he said. The prospector eased himself back down. He thanked his lucky stars that the ghost train had decided to make its only stop ever for him. So it even put it even put a branch into Tombstone, but Tombstone old timers say that the ghost train still runs across the trackless Achilles Flats where no railroad was ever built. So that's basically what it is. And the ghost train still appears there. And so that's what has to happen in the Ghost Train TV episode too. You got to put the sheriff in there. You got to put the sheriff in there. You got to put the sheriff in there, and also you got to put and also you have to you also have you also have to put the prospector in there too. You also have to put the prospector in there too. And it takes place in Arizona. And back in and the Southern Pacific Railroad came through Arizona in 1880. So the place takes place in Arizona, okay? It even put a branch into Tombstone too. It takes place in Arizona and the Arizona desert, okay? In the Arizona desert, okay? All right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I am going to read I am going to read another one. I'm gonna read another one. Let me find it. Actually, yeah, I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read this one, okay? Okay. So, um this one is um this one is called the Cohote Ghost Light, the Cohote Ghost Light. This one is called the Cohote Ghost Light, and it takes place in Cohote, Virginia. Cohote, Virginia. Um, so, so, um, 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 so this takes place in Cohote, Virginia, okay? So, the Cohote Ghost Light, the Cohote Ghost Light. Cohote, Virginia is a tiny hamlet located on the ex-Southern Railway, now Norfolk Southern branch from Richmond to West Point, Virginia. According to railroad historian Robert Reyes Weber, a ghostly light appears along the Norfolk Southern train tracks at Cohote. Rhys Weber states that local legend identifies the light as the ghost of a conductor killed by beheading in an accident at Cohote. A check of railroad records, however, failed to find any mention of employee fatals there, and some locals, Rhys Weber reports say that the light is the conductor's lantern, while others say it's too bright to be a lantern and believe it's the headlight of the conductor's train. Percent legend, persistent legend says that the light is the ghost of a Confederate hospital train that disappeared on the line during 1864. Rhys Weber deputies this explanation, noting that the rail line through Cohote was held by the Union Army during the 1864 siege of Richmond. Prospects of the hospital train story say that two lights are seen. One of the headlight, one is the headlight of the vanishing hospital train, while the other is a lantern carried by the ghost of the Confederate soldier. The soldier appears well in front of the ghost headlight and floats 10 feet or so above the train tracks. Only the soldier's head, shoulders, and arms may be seen, as his features are blurred. One witness reports that as the large, brilliant light folks thereabouts think is a ghost headlight past a parked car, the occupants flicked on their headlights as the area around the ghostly glow was emulated by the car lights. The witnesses saw the outline of a train. One of the most amazing things about the light is the number of people who have seen it. Over the last 100 years, thousands of people, thousands have reported witnessed the lights, which seems to appear and disappear at random. The light is said to be very bright, too bright to be swamp gas. And it is said to appear all year around. It does usually on cloudy nights during a storm or a rain shower. The light has been described as a big, bright, round ball and as a gaseous glow. It appears several hundred yards down the train tracks from witnesses, then moves towards onlookers, becoming brighter as it nears them. Witnesses are often frightened away as the light approaches. The light disappears if assailed by foolhardy folks who shoot at it or try to run it down with their cars as it passes the grade crossing in Cohogue. No one has successfully photographed the light. Other witnesses have reported experience a strange feeling before the light appears, a strong impression that someone else is there. Someone else is there. The light then materializes sometimes, pacing witnesses' cars as they drive the section of road in Cohogue parallel to the railroad train tracks. Like the Manco and Mintz ghost light, the Cohogue light has attracted a great deal of attention from area residents. In fact, ghost viewers were once so numerous that they came by the carload blocking the road in Cohogue, Virginia. 632 people have also been known to fire at the light with shotguns, endangering less vigilant thrill seekers. So many people frequented the area to watch for the ghost light that the country finally passed an ordinance forbidding loitering in the area after dark. This may be one of the few times that a ghost has created government regulation. So, that was a long story. So anyway, back in 1864, a persistent legend says that the light is the ghost of a Confederate hospital train that disappeared on the line in 1864, and also the ghost and also prospects of the hospital's train story say two lights are seen. One is the headlight of the vanishing hospital train, while the other light is a lantern carried by the ghost of a Confederate soldier. Anyway, the light is the one light is the vanished hospital train, while the other one is carrying a lantern to be the Confederate soldier. And so so the light appears by foolhardy folks who shoot at it or try to run it down with their cars. Other witnesses have reported experiencing a strange feeling before the light appears, a strong impression that someone else is there, like, somebody is there. You know how you get the feeling like you know how you get the feeling like if somebody is there and somebody gets well, that's how they feel. So anyway, the Cohote ghost light and the ghost train of the Arizona desert has to be on the Travel Channel, and the story has to go back in time. The story has to go back in time. So the story has to go back in time, and the apparition of the Confederate soldier and the hospital train and the Cohote ghost light has to appear, okay? Has to appear in the TV show Ghost Train, okay? It has to show the story going back in time, and it has to show the apparition and the ghost and the spirit, okay? All right? So anyway, and as the ghost train of the Arizona desert, it has to southeastern Arizona, though, is said to be haunted by such a train. The story is the story was, like I read before, the prospector was lost on the Alkali Flats north of Arizona Dragoon Mountains. Anyway, that is what it is. That's what it is. Okay. And the ghost train of the Arizona desert has to appear too on the show too, okay? And the story has to go back in time. The story has to go back in time to all this here, and so forth and so on, okay? All right? So, I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. Now I'm going to show you guys an example from haunted hotels, and it will give you an idea. It will give you an idea of what ghost trains should look like on the Travel Channel. Okay, all right. Anyways, so without further ado, here it is.
A haunted hotel can sometimes offer travelers much more than a night's stay. But not all guests are told the stories behind the ghosts.
Here's haunted hotels. Here it is. Here's the example.
Themselves in a room with a disturbing past. Any building can have its share of ghost stories, but it seems that things go bump in the night louder and more often in hotels. Sometimes a hotel's haunted reputation can be traced back to violence long ago.
People commit suicide, violent acts take place in hotel rooms. These are the reasons I think hotels are especially haunted.
And some believe the older the hotel, the more it is visited by guests from beyond. Built in the 1920s, the Bella Maggiore Inn is one of the oldest hotels in Ventura, California, and has seen its full measure of drama. But one particular room, Room 17, seems to harbor more than its share of legends.
Room 17 is a beautiful room. In fact, if it wasn't for the ghostly happenings reported over and over again, one might assume it's just another room in a fine bed and breakfast.
Employees and guests say the echoes of the room's dark past still reverberate today.
A variety of different things have happened in Room 17, and many of these events happen to people who don't know it's haunted.
The first thing that many guests notice is the pervasive scent of roses. Those who linger may learn the story behind the scent, that something disturbing happened in Room 17 to a young woman long ago.
She came to this place to ply her trade. The Bella Maggiore Inn is located on California Street, which extends right down to the ocean.
The street ends at a pier, which was a major thoroughfare during World War II.
During the war, it was very active. The sailors used to come into town, and of course, where you have sailors, what else do you have? Women to keep them company. Women who sell themselves for money.
One of the residents here was a girl named Sylvia, and she tended to have a little bit of a harlot background, so to speak, and she was staying here at the hotel.
Sylvia had the misfortune to fall in love with one of her customers.
Sylvia had grown fond of this gentleman that had stopped in to visit her, and they had started a relationship.
For Sylvia, the affair meant much more than money, and before long, the focus of her life became the romance that had blossomed in her lonely room. When at last the war ended, all the world rejoiced, except for Sylvia. Every day she would look for her sailor who had mysteriously vanished.
She'd walk down to the pier and stand there and just look out over all the crewmen that were coming in and out, hoping to catch a glance that her lost love would be there. And that's where the story begins. The serviceman had failed to tell her that he was married, and after the war, he notified her and told her that he was going back home to his wife, and she became very despondent.
Sylvia's sorrow turned into despair when she realized that she was pregnant.
She felt like she just couldn't continue, and so she went into room 17 and locked the door.
It was several days before the hotel staff noticed Sylvia's absence and unlocked her door.
As housekeeping entered the room, they looked around and they could not find her. They noticed the closet doors were open, and they walked over and found that she had hanged herself in the closet.
Sylvia's tragic end triggered the beginning of a series of strange stories about the Bella Maggiore.
Shortly after her death, different things started happening within the hotel. There would be a scent of rose perfume down in the lobby, and then it was tracked back that that's what she had wore.
Guests often report that the bathroom lights will suddenly switch on late at night.
She's always mischievous, and you don't ever really know what's going to be happening with her.
A lady and her husband, older couple, checked into room 17. While at dinner, they had a big fight, big argument. Finally, she decided to go to bed with a headache, you know. While she was in bed, she heard the door open. Key in the lock, the door open, and then she heard the door close. She assumed it was her husband. Then the covers moved, and something slid in next to her. While he snuggled up, whatever it was snuggled up, she said it felt ice cold, like a piece of meat from a meat locker. Just then she heard a key in the lock. It was her husband. There was nothing in bed with her. They checked out that night.
Hotel Bella Maggiore has been the scene of various strange events involving the ghost of Sylvia, a young prostitute who died in room 17 in 1945.
When you're walking down the hallway, at the corner of your eye, you'll catch a swinging card that has "Do Not Disturb" on it, and you'll catch it and it'll be swinging. But you turn to look and there's nothing there.
Sylvia does seem to crave male company, and young businessmen traveling alone have reported some rather strange experiences.
They'll feel some tugging at the sheets at the bottom of the bed. It's either that, or they will feel that someone has sat down on the edge of the bed in the middle of the night. Or they'll wake up and there is an imprint of a head on the pillow next to him. It's usually single businessmen that have the impressions on their pillow. Maybe she's just trying to find that comfort that she lost from her long-lost love that never returned.
I remember talking to one of the night auditors. He didn't believe in ghosts, didn't believe in Sylvia. His last night, he looked up, and on the stairs, he saw Sylvia, dressed in that style of long ago, and she kind of waved at him and disappeared. Just letting him know that, yeah, there really was a ghost here.
In death as in life, Sylvia will sometimes leave the hotel and wander down to the water's edge to ease her loneliness. And according to local law, her misty figure is sometimes spotted still walking the old forgotten pier. Is it possible that Sylvia's restless spirit is simply trying to expose another ending to her story? A story that ends not in suicide, but murder.
Now, for years it was believed that she hung herself. That's what they say.
But the tale of Sylvia's last moments may be even more gruesome.
There was a sailor, a petty officer, a big man who came, and she invited him up to her room. And there they engaged in that activity for which he had paid. But then at the end, he strangled her to death. And then, fearful that he might be caught and perhaps face justice, he fixed her up so it looked as if she had hanged.
Does unfinished business keep Sylvia at the Bella Maggiore?
She's waiting for that sailor to come back. I don't know what she's going to do to him, but if I were a petty officer, I would avoid room 17. It's a great place, but I recommend that if you want a quiet night, maybe check into another room.
The ghost seems to hold a special grudge against couples, particularly one couple who were on their honeymoon.
And as soon as they got into the bedroom and got into bed, something turned the water on in the bathroom.
The groom went in to investigate.
They went in, turned the water off, got back into bed, and someone flushed the toilet. And the shower went on. He got up, turned the shower off, got back into the bed, the shower started up, and the toilet flushed. The poor wife clung close to her husband all night long, shaking as the water went on and off in their bathroom.
The following morning, they were asked how their night had been.
The lady said it was the honeymoon from hell. And then the waitress drained white and said, "They didn't put you in 17, did they?"
Over the years, the staff of the Bella Maggiore have reported many strange events.
The most remarkable story concerned this one lady, a Latino woman who worked as a maid here. She had a little transistor radio which she listened to Latin stations.
One day, the maid was assigned to room 17.
As soon as she walked into room 17, the radio station changed. And instead of her music, everything on the dial was big band. Finally, she started screaming, threw the radio down, and ran down the stairs. She told them to mail her last check home and that they could keep the radio because it was haunted.
The staff of the Bella Maggiore feel that Sylvia will continue to confound skeptics.
I didn't believe in ghosts at all until I started working here. There is definitely something in this hotel. And so it keeps you on your toes.
When a vacation includes a stay at a haunted hotel, some encounters are not on the itinerary. Often shrouded in thick rolling fog, the Scottish borderlands are steeped in history. Local legends tell of bloody battles, forbidden romances, and mysterious deaths. They also speak of tortured souls roaming the land, searching for something they can never find.
She doesn't like being interfered with, and I don't think she's a thoroughly pleasant ghost.
Perhaps one of the most mysterious stories comes from the picturesque village of St. Boswell's in Scotland. It is the story of the Grey Lady of the Dryburgh Abbey Hotel.
We had a French couple staying with us. They had a lovely meal and went to bed, and that's the last we saw of them until 5 o'clock the following morning. Our night porter was phoned up and told in no uncertain terms that these people were checking out. They were extremely scared and they needed to get out of the building straight away.
But why does this inhospitable spirit send guests fleeing their rooms in the middle of the night?
I believe myself that the area of the hotel where these things happen was where their dwelling was all those centuries ago. She feels ownership of that area and doesn't like to share it.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Did you see of how the stories went back in time in haunted hotels and haunted hotels? That is what the ghost train that is what the ghost train of the Arizona desert has to do too, okay? All right? That is what the ghost train of the Arizona desert has to do too, okay? All right? As well as the as well as the Cohote ghost slide, okay? Okay, so the Cohote ghost light has to go back in time, and show the apparitions and show the spirits and show the people doing what they're doing and stuff like that and everything, and of how it was, okay? All right? So the Confederate hospital train disappeared on the line during 1864. So it has to go back to 1864 in the show, in the TV show Ghost Train. And the ghost train of the Arizona desert has to go back in time to 1880 also, okay? All right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these stories, and I'll be back later on, maybe this evening, before I stop for the night. I may be back later this evening to do some more. I don't know. It might be too late though, or something. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Give this video a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to, and ring the bell. And I will see you guys later for my next vlog and my next YouTube video, okay? And my next ghost train story, okay? Okay, bye everybody. Bye.